Rock and Roll Geek Show 769.
Still rocking after all these years.
This is the story of my rock and roll butler.
This is it, the show that started it all. Often imitated, but never equal. From San Francisco, USA, online since 2004. It's the one and only Rock and Roll Geek Show. With the original Rock and Roll Geek, Michael Butler.
Welcome to the Rock and Roll Geek Show. My name's Michael Butler. Thanks a lot for joining me. I really appreciate it. Today is Saturday, June 10th, 2017. I'm recording the show, and it's 4:21 p.m. I have a very special episode for you today. I have been working on this interview for quite a long time now, and haven't told anybody about it because I didn't want to jinx it, and B, I was so afraid that somebody was going to have put this interview out before me. So because this interview is very special to me because this is my real rock and roll hero, the person who's responsible for me picking up the bass guitar. This is Pete Way of UFO, Wasted. Pete Way, the rock and roll legend. He has a new book out called A Fast Ride Out of Here. I read it last weekend. I flew out to see my daughter in the Tri-Cities area of Washington, and I held back. I started to read it when I first got it. I just went through a chapter, and it was really fast, and I said, nope, I'm going to put this thing down. I'm going to read it on the plane to see Martina. I read it in the time that I was gone, and boy, was it a good book. Man, I finished it on the way back, and the last chapter, I fucking cried my eyes out like a little baby. It was such a good book, man. Very touching, very honest, and full of great rock and roll stories from the great Pete Way. So that's what I have for you tonight. I have an interview that I did with Pete Way. I just got off the phone with him, as a matter of fact. I can't tell you how excited I was to talk to him and how nervous I was as well. I had him on the show like 12 years ago. And I was nervous back then, too. This time I was a little bit more nervous because I did not know what to expect with Pete's health and all that. But he turned out to be a very, very nice guy, as he was the first time. And I can't tell you how much my love for this guy extends. Words can't describe how much I love this man, okay? So I'm going to shut up. I'm going to play a song and then go right into the Pete Way interview. There's a little cliffhanger in it, and stick with the interview throughout the entire thing, friends, because at the very least, it is, I guess I should say it's compelling, but maybe I'm overselling it or underselling it. But before I do the interview, I'm going to play a song. This is live, UFO, live at the Marquee Club on November 16th, 1980. On the No Place to Run tour. This is at the Marquee Club in London. This song is Letting Go. Let this roll, and then we will go right into the Pete Way interview. Thank you, everybody, for listening, and thank you for everybody for donating. Please keep the donations coming. They keep the show alive.
I'm letting go now.
Pete Way. I'm nervous as fuck. Hello?
Hello?
Hello, Pete. It's Michael Butler.
Is that Michael?
Yes. Sorry, I missed your call.
Hello?
Hello, can you hear?
Michael, I'm Pete.
Hi, Pete.
How are you doing?
I'm...
I've been trying to get hold of you for about 15 minutes or more.
Oh,
But I was a bit worried. I don't know. You know, it's like transatlantic lines and that. But I thought, well, I'm not calling Mongolia. So I was hoping I would get you.
yeah. Well,
Anyway,
I have you
how
now.
are you?
I am super great. Could not be better, especially now that I'm talking to you. I talked to you about 12 years ago. I think you were living in Columbus. I talked to you and Finn. So it's nice to talk to you again.
Yeah, probably so. Yeah. Thanks for calling back. It was just a little bit of a... I was worried because I don't like to let people down, and especially as San Francisco is very close to my heart.
Oh,
so, you know. So,
well, I'm really...
Anyway, Mark...
I'm really honored to talk to you. There's probably no bigger fan of yours than me. When you... first of all, I just finished your book. I was on the plane coming back from visiting my daughter, and I finished the book on the plane. In the last chapter, I just started crying uncontrollably, and I was embarrassed on the plane because I
Don't make my head swell. Don't make my head swell, Michael. You know, but I appreciate that very much.
It's really, really a good book. It took... there's a few...
Well, it's a true book. You know, had my ups and downs, as my friends know, and things like that. And I've had the illnesses, you know, because of, sadly, you don't have the cancer and then the heart attack and that. And I can't say like I'm completely a normal human being, but I try my best to be. I think I'm best described as eccentric.
Well, most brilliant people are. So how is your health now?
Oh, it's much better. But I'll tell you what, when I was a junkie, I used to have needles all over me all the time, trying to get it in and all that. Now I have hospitals trying to put needles in me.
Yeah, right. In the book, you talked about having
carry on, Michael.
I'm sorry. In the book, you talked about having so many needles you had to eventually shoot into your groin, and when you couldn't shoot into your groin anymore, that's when you had to stop doing...
Yeah. I'd have veins removed when I got back to England. And it's not a clever experience. It was just, didn't seem anything unusual to me because I just thought, well, I've got a problem and I'll deal with it. And like anybody that becomes a junkie, it's like I'll deal with it tomorrow.
Yeah,
that's the best way I can describe it.
Well, you are the reason I'm a bass player, and you're the reason that I picked up a bass, and you are probably my true rock and roll hero. I'm sure.
I think you told me that when I last spoke to you, to be honest.
I am sure a lot of people tell you that.
I can remember speaking to you.
Yeah, the one kid that kissed your ass.
I remember speaking to you, so I can remember pretty much. A lot of people don't think I remember things, but I really don't. You know, so I'm ever so happy that you were interested in talking to me, and the book is interesting. It's true, you know, from day one. I don't exaggerate. Yeah, of course, the book company likes to make it a little bit more, I don't know, like James Bond movie. Well, me, it's just, I lived the life and that was it.
Yeah.
Doing the album, and Clint says to me, well, you got to be on your best behaviour. We're pretty much getting very close to finishing. So it's going to be great, the actual album. I say it will be, but I've got Kenny Alton playing drums, and Slusher's been playing some guitar
Now,
and things. And of course, I've got my own people that do stuff. I've not done too much bass, and I've not done too much six string. I wrote using those instruments, but suddenly I'm a lead singer.
right.
And, when you have to, when you've got to sit down, write lyrics, and then also sing them, you don't have too much time for bass. I'd probably say to somebody who's working for me, this is the way I see the bass, if you see what I mean.
So so
I do it.
So you're only singing on the
I'm sorry,
album?
Michael.
You're only singing on the album? You're not playing?
Yeah, it's just me singing, yeah.
Who's playing bass and guitar on the album?
Well, I play on some of it,
Okay.
but I couldn't concentrate. I can't be a one-man band,
Right.
if you see what I mean. And drums are Kenny Alton. I don't know if you're familiar with Kenny. But
Kenny,
he's one of the best drummers in the world.
you're talking about Kenny Aronoff?
Yeah.
Kenny Aronoff,
Yeah, he's playing drums.
He is one of the greatest drummers in the world. He has a book out, too.
Yeah, he actually did me the honour of saying I really like your songs and things like that. So we went from one extreme to the other, playing rock and roll, and
So did Mike?
that's what I do.
Did Mike Klink find the musicians for you, or did you reach out and find these guys?
Well, Mike knew Kenny, and of course Mike knew Slash due to the Guns thing. But I'd known Slash for years anyway.
Yeah.
But I hadn't met Kenny before.
Did you guys all sit in a room together and play, or did they send you the tracks they recorded, and then you sent you the tracks and you?
Bit of both. Mike came over. Kenny did it in his studio actually. Slash came over a bit, and I went over once and that. But ever since Donald Trump came in, I have to be a bit careful because I've got a checkered past with my passport.
For getting into the
I haven't
States.
done anything bad for a long time.
Are you legally able to return to America? Because I remember before you couldn't do it with UFO. And
yeah, no, it cost me a lot of money actually.
Really?
And ironically enough, UFO didn't help me pay my bills. I mean, I paid for everything, talking thousands of pounds to get it sorted. So a friend of mine actually gave me the idea of getting the charges squashed because they were just minor charges, really. But, anything with drugs that comes up. Not proud of it. Just happened.
Exactly. Well, what's good about the book is, some of these books, they talk about, some of these other musicians in the books, they talk about doing drugs like it was a badge of honor and stuff. Yours is just more matter of fact, and it comes across way more real than most of these other rock books that seem to be bragging.
It is really, it's like, I'm no... I don't certainly want to promote people taking drugs because, quite honestly, I was lucky in a way because when I started to get an addiction, I had the money to afford the addiction. Some people don't, and it destroys their lives, destroys their families, things like that. Me, sadly, my wife died, and that was, pretty awful, you can imagine.
Yeah.
So, situations like that, they don't happen to just anybody. They happen to me, I can tell you.
Well, in the book, at the end of the book, you hadn't, I think this was finished before you had the heart problems. That's right, isn't it?
Yeah,
in the book, at the end of the book,
and also I had prostate cancer.
Yeah, but you had the prostate cancer. That's in the book, but nothing about the heart problems in the book.
Yeah, I was flying back from Germany because I was working with Tommy Newton, on a vocal. In fact, we're trying to get now time to put the final vocals together because everything is just about ready. But obviously, I'm not Pavarotti, but I do sound cross between Bob Dylan and God knows who else.
That is,
and Bon Scott.
but that's one of the cool things about the last album. Amphetamine is one of my favorite albums of all time. I think I did a track-by-track review of that on the show. And your voice makes that album,
Well, that's
which is
real.
so great.
That's, the words in that, they're all real. I lived it. It's like, I just thought, well, if Tarantino can write it, so can
Exactly.
So, so I wrote the whole thing, just, because it's, in a way, UFO has become a little bit more sort of middle of the road or something, I don't know. And anyway, because of my attitude, and I was a little bit on the, put it like this, you wouldn't have employed me in your studio. So, basically, there was a falling out, and it was like, straighten up or fuck off, basically. Sorry to swear. And in the end, it was just as easy for me to not do it because I knew I had a problem. And the book isn't to say, oh, look how clever I am, I had a problem. The book is just really a story.
Yeah.
And I don't knock any of my friends or anything like that, talk about arguments and that. It's just reality.
What I like about the book is, it's kind of like it's a cross between you talking, then it mixes some oral history in there. By oral history, I mean it gets other people's input about their side of things, about what happened at the time. Like there's Joe Elliott's in the book talking about.
Well, I wasn't trying to impress anybody, that's for sure. But I think some of my friends kind of got a bit like, he's going to die type of thing. And, but I always managed to know exactly what I was doing, but I spent so much money, it was ridiculous. My wife died in the end, so it wasn't, if you want to write a film on it, it's like you go, Christ. In a way, my book is a little bit exaggerated. I know that because they try and emphasise certain parts in the book that I probably, when you're numb and you're not necessarily 100% there, I just accepted it. I mean, cocaine I accepted because I thought it was just like nothing. It's like going and buying some candy or something,
Yeah. At the end of the book, you talked about. At the end of the book, you said that you still do coke occasionally and you still drink every day. Is that still the case?
No, I've got to be very careful because I'm going through liver treatment, and Mike Klink will not have me drinking. When I say that drink every day, what I mean is it's more like I have some wine with a meal. Right. It's not like waking up and knocking back a bottle of wine.
So
I probably could do, but a friend of mine said to me, who's got actually a heroin problem that I'm helping him out with, and he said to me, you've got to remember that you and I have an incredibly high tolerance, So
it's not like if you have a drink, you're going to fall off the wagon and sink into despair or something, anything like that.
No, I don't go around the bar or anything and knock back knock back booze or anything like that. I don't drink spirits, actually. On a very rare occasion, I drink spirits. and that's sometimes just, and then sometimes I don't drink for quite a long time. When I came out of rehab, I didn't drink, but I had one or two reasons that I guess I like the taste of it, but
Yeah, exactly.
it's not a big deal to me. I like to be normal.
And being normal,
You know, and I really, really, I want to work and I want to play guitar and I want to play bass. Some of it on tour, I probably won't play a lot of bass. I might play some six-string, but I will play things like, crazy, like, get round here, I want to practice for the beach.
yeah.
God, the jungle's the only thing that you believe in. You know, I mean, it's like that. But I can play that, so I do a bit of both.
Right.
And then certain things do become the impossible. But nothing's impossible until you try practicing. You know what I mean?
Have you thought about have you thought about putting a band together and going out and playing gigs to support the new album?
Oh, yeah. I mean, there's a lot of people that would actually like me to do it. And, you have to excuse me for a second.
Okay.
This is really bizarre. Do you like soccer?
Yes, I do, but yes, I do, but being in the United States, you know, it's not that available out here.
It's pretty big when I lived in Columbus. So I was just, because England are playing Scotland in the World Cup qualifier, and I was, if you excuse me, I'm just I'm not listening to it or anything, I'm just putting the score up. That was all.
And what's the score?
How you do sometimes.
What is the score?
England are winning 1-0 against Scotland.
What's the score?
So, it's 1-0 to England.
Okay, so
0-1 to England because it's in Glasgow.
Okay.
So I apologise because this house is actually quite big. So I've got 3 or 4 televisions, and I wasn't sure exactly if I knew how to put the television on.
Right.
Downstairs, but I went to a quiet room in the house, you know.
So is that your house? Did you buy the house? Do you have enough money to be able to buy a house still?
I'm not sure of money, but I didn't. I rented it, and you know why? Because I didn't intend to live here. I probably would be happy to move to France. And the reason is I got divorced and had to give my wife. You read in the book, I had to give her the house. So I was putting off that situation. So I have to go to hospital probably about twice a week for blood tests and that, because they're doing everything on me, liver, kidneys. I'll be bionic Pete by the time I actually end up touring.
So you're getting checked. You're getting checked for your liver now. Is there hepatitis or anything like that?
Well, the hepatitis, they don't know if it's there or not because they can't really find it. But I did have it, and consequently, what they want to do is to. There's a new drug out that you take that completely wipes it out.
Yeah, that's
so it's probably better.
Yeah, Pamela Anderson did that drug.
Yeah, well, apparently there's something to do with Tommy, but I don't know. All women say that. It's like that bastard gave it to me.
Right. Well, supposedly she took...
Actually, you know what? I think it's a mixture of possibly even, using a note, rolled up note and snorting up coke, you know?
Well, supposedly she took that drug and now she's cured of hepatitis because of that drug that you're talking about.
Yeah. She did. She took 2 months off. Well, not off, but she did it. No alcohol, That's why I hardly drink at all. I drink every now and again just for the fun. Well, not the fun, but, sometimes with food and that, it's just...
Well,
what I want to do, Michael, is be normal.
Yeah, well, food tastes better beer tastes better with food. I know that because I like to drink some beer every now and then, every day.
Exactly, yeah. Well, I'm vegetarian. I want to be vegan, but I am, 100% best behaviour. And I'm not. I do eat seafood, which is very hypocritical, if you see what I mean, because fish have lives of their own, So I don't know.
There's some animals are put on this earth to be eaten.
Yeah, but I agree with you, but at the same time, I don't believe in it, if you see what I mean.
Yeah.
I love animals, and what money I do have, I do give some money to animal charities, things like that. I live very frugally, even though I live in a very nice house in a very nice area. But it's, I don't go out particularly in that unless I can charge it to somebody.
Right.
So, no, I'm not like as bad as that, but you can imagine. I sit and watch football, do things like that, and I practice on the guitar. I've got my 6-string here. I could play you. Think I'm going crazy, if you like.
I would love to do that.
Live, kids around here will practice with the preach. A lot of the jungle's the only thing that they believe in. You can't buy smack on food stamps tonight. Smith & Wesson feels so damn good in your hand. And then, there ain't no Alice here. There ain't no Wonderland. So anyway, you've heard it, so don't worry.
On amphetamines, great. When I found out you had cancer, I did a episode on this show. I prayed to God really hard and really sincerely that you would pull through, and you pulled through. Then when you had the heart problems, I prayed hard again. I did another episode and I prayed hard, and you seem to have come through with that. I'm telling you the truth here, and I'm not trying to kiss your ass, even though I am. Every single day, I say a prayer to God for your health.
Oh, you're a good man. I'm tough as nails, as they say. So it's all right. Everything. It's really weird because I go to the hospital. That's why I'm down here renting, because Bournemouth, the Royal Hospital, has been so good to me. But they get more of a kick about my celebrity status than they actually do. I can get appointments immediately.
Oh, nice.
I can get to be seen, same with teeth and things like that.
Yeah, in the book you talk about some guy. In the book you talk about one of the doctors actually brought his guitar. I think you said he brought his guitar and started playing along to UFO songs, something like that.
Yeah, I got one of my doctors. He's actually he's really good. I just got him to write. He had a song, and I said I quite like it, but trouble is my album's gone on for so long now. That it makes it very difficult just to finish it off. And Mike has to travel over to me because I'm trying to avoid Donald Trump. So
the only thing that needs to be done left on the album is to finish vocal tracks.
Yep.
What is missing? What's left of the vocal tracks to do? Have you finished any of the songs completely? Because I've heard.
Well, songs I can't even tell you the names of because I can't remember the names because his songs. What happens is you have a working title,
Right.
and then you decide to. Yeah, I'll tell you what. If you like, a bit crazy, I'll just do this for you.
Okay.
I've got to remember it now. Cops come around in there flashing the machines. Anyway. So they have the artist who can't remember his own words.
That's stuff from Amphetamine. That's not new songs. That's stuff from Amphetamine.
No, I can't play it really. To be honest with you, I've lost track of the this one. I'm not saying I've lost it, but it's just I've changed or Mike's changed the what's the word? The arrangements, stuff like that. Kenny's done different drum arrangements. So, I mean, the only other thing. Have you heard the two songs?
Yes, I have.
I've got Slash and somebody else.
I heard that
one.
So
you get, I can do this for you. I can do this for you. Remember, I can't remember them.
Right. Okay.
Oh, you can hear me?
I can hear you. Yeah, I heard that one.
That's off that album.
I heard that one. That's on the album Teaser, and then I heard the one with Slash playing guitar. That sounds like it already has vocals down on it.
See, I can't do Slash's guitar. Well, so I'd have to play. It's actually tongue in cheek. It's supposed to be a joke because
the narcotics.
I had quite an incredible drug problem.
Yeah, that's
I suppose compared to most people.
How many songs?
So
how many songs are the vocals completely done on, or completed?
About 8 or 9.
So how many? There's
we're
maybe
trying to go.
There's maybe 3
We're going
left.
for 12.
You're going okay. So there's 3 songs left to do vocals. That's
it just depends. Depends what we finish. You know, because I honestly don't know at the moment it depends what Mike wants to do, so I can't honestly tell you.
Do you think the album...
Scotland are just equalised, by the way.
Oh, great. Sorry, I'm sorry about that. Sorry. What quarter?
That's all right.
What quarter is it in? What period's it in?
Oh, it's just, it's in the last 15 minutes,
Okay.
so England can probably come up and rustle up a winner.
All right.
That was an excellent free kick that the Scottish did, but this is like very unusual for England and Scotland, because, not unusual, it's like World War III, you know, so...
Right.
You know, it's quite funny, really.
They're rivals, I'm assuming.
Oh, Scotland and England, yeah.
Yeah.
They still think there's probably we're trying to take over Scotland and all that. In fact, we do own Scotland, but,
Who is the home team? Where's the game at?
Well, it's in Glasgow.
Okay, so
Hampden Park.
Scotland's the home team, so England is in front of a hostile crowd.
So it's like 1-1 now.
Yeah.
So England will come back. Hopefully they'll get some backbone and come in. It's one of those games that it's always, I'm sure with American football, I'm sure these sort of games are the sort of thing that, it's so close because of your rivals and that in this home city. Well, England's such a small country, so you're going to get that,
Well, that's what makes the game fun.
Nonetheless, man.
So there's only 3 songs left to do. Do you know when is the album going to come out?
Actually, 3 or 4 and some BVs, backing vocals. That's got to be done.
Is the album going to come out this year? Please say yes.
Yeah.
I hope so.
We need the album out as soon as possible.
Yeah, please finish
That's the hardest thing. It's just, it's not my fault, but obviously when I had to have radiotherapy, stuff like that, and when I had the heart, I had to take stuff easy. So that's why I'm either going to France or I'm going to finish it in London, and then it will be done. Because it'd be nice to have it out in September, Yeah, it will be particularly because the book's been #1 for a couple of weeks.
Oh, really?
In England.
Huh.
Yeah. So, it's like, everybody likes that sort of thing, don't they? It's a bit like... But actually, it's reality. Did you buy yours off Amazon? Or did you get one sent?
No, I bought it. I paid for it. I don't remember I got it. Book Depository is where I bought mine. I actually paid for my book. And I read it.
Yeah, the only reason I asked, you being a journalist, I would have thought you'd have got a copy because, you know what, I didn't have a copy. And suddenly, eventually, I got 15 copies,
I didn't even know you were writing a book, and then next thing I know, it says, "Hey, the Pete Way's new book is out. Fast right out of here." And I said, "What? Pete Way's got a book?" And I immediately ordered it. It took like 2 weeks to get here because it had to come from England.
Went straight to #1 in the UK and wherever it was. I got all sorts of people saying to me but it had been pre-sales for a long time because it took a while because we wanted to get the album out with it, but nonetheless, it's in a way it's not a bad thing. So I've got to get Mike either over to France, and we're going to use a mobile studio, or we're going to do it in London. It's a little bit up in the air, but we'll get it done. And some of my health issues come up as to whether or not I had to be in hospital and stuff like that. I'm pretty healthy, it's more checkups now than anything else. So,
did you get any feedback? Did you get any feedback from anybody about the book, like maybe from Phil or anybody like that?
No, I don't speak to him particularly.
Last I heard you guys lived kind of really close to each other. Do you still live near him?
No, I was in Brighton, but no, I'm not. I live in Christchurch, which is just outside of Bournemouth. So, it's one of those things that I don't chase everybody up, and they're on tour more than I haven't been on tour for 4 years.
Yeah.
But I've got people that are going to go on tour with me. Oh, England have just gone 2-1 up. So we're winning. If you've got a bet on England, yes. This is a good interview, isn't it? Go, well, I'm doing a review on the football soccer results,
Hey.
but I've just done a thing for Burn magazine, right?
Uh-huh.
And
Japan.
Burn did a big feature, and the guy that I did the interview with said, well, he said, actually, he said, he lives in France, he said, oh, well, I do interviews rather on sports. And I said, oh, and I've known him for a long time, this guy called Howard Johnson. So I ended up talking to him about sports more than I did, because he kept saying, I've got 800 words to write. Could we go back to the, you know,
Right.
like the lines of Coke and all that?
And you cook?
Me, yeah.
Do you what do you do?
But I'm vegetarian, so I try and be vegan.
So you cook all vegetarian. Is your wife vegetarian too?
Yeah.
So what do you cook? What's the
Yeah.
thing what's the thing that you cook the most?
Oh, just vegetables and actually, sadly, I eat prawns, things like shrimp, you know, that sort of thing. But I want to get rid of that. I want to just eat, what's the word? You know, soya.
Just soy?
You know,
Yeah.
so...
Yeah. Well, shrimp, prawns, and fish taste so delicious, though.
Well, you know, I try and do my best and try and live a reasonable life. It's difficult sometimes, but I don't hang around with the people that I can get high on my own supply, because I was spending so much money on it that it wasn't the best thing in the world to do. So, you know, what can you say?
Yeah.
All I want to do is go on stage, be really, really good. Mike Klink will kick me out the studio and go home if I fuck up on this album. For these, all he needs is another 3 or 4 words. So, you know, songs. And the other thing, of course, you've always got to go through things to see how it works, you know, see if there's anything that needs repairing, plus backing vocals as well. So,
well,
you know, Michael, it's
the 2 bits I heard.
Been a long time.
The 2 bits I heard from the new album sound fucking fantastic. So I hope you hear him get this thing done, man. I can't wait.
Oh yeah, it's going to be about. I want them to at least 12, maybe 14, but maybe keep some for, you know, like, I don't know, the B-side back in the day when you did a B-side.
Do you at least have scratch vocals? You at least have like scratch vocals on all of the songs?
Well, initially when I wrote them, I did, because you always rewrite songs to make them the way you want them, you know. If you're writing a song and it hasn't been finished, you never stop working on it, because you always think about possibilities and try and use my imagination and that, you know.
Yeah, but
it's,
but on the actual tracks on the album, are there scratch vocals recorded on the songs that are, you know, on the album?
No,
They're
no,
not.
actually they're not. Actually, those 2 are not. There's no backing vocals or anything on it. So, of course, they're not finals, but we just put them up because people were getting fed up with waiting to hear something, you know.
Yeah, yeah.
So, it's not bad. though, Michael. It's a lot more to go, you know. But I was going to say, do you want to continue this interview later, in about an hour?
I would love to. I actually have to leave in an hour to meet somebody, but I would love to do it later on, or maybe even.
Okay. Yeah, I'll tell you what. I've just got to go and pick up something, and it's not drugs. When I say that, I've just got a parcel, and I wondered if you could call me again later or even tomorrow. I'm totally available.
Are you awake in about?
You know.
Are you awake in about 3 hours?
Yeah, of course.
So why don't I call you back in 3 hours?
That sounds great, Michael.
All right, Pete. Thank you so much.
Yeah, that way.
Yeah, you can finish
That's
watching.
all right.
You can finish watching the game and everything else. All right, Pete. I will talk to you soon.
Yeah, pleasure's all mine.
Okay. All right. I'll talk to you later.
Yeah. Thanks, Michael.
Okay.
That's great.
Thank
you. 3 hours.
Sounds
and I'll
good.
be there for you.
Okay. Thanks. Bye.
I'd really appreciate that.
No problem.
I need promotion, and I'll tell you what, you'll be the first person to get one of the initial albums and stuff.
Well, I'll buy it regardless.
I'll make sure Jenny does it.
Thanks. Okay, I will.
Okay.
I'll talk to you soon.
Keep down here while I practice what they preach.
Yeah, okay.
So, okay. That sounds great to me. So we're talking 10:30ish, yeah?
Yeah, something like that. What's 10:30?
My time.
Yes, I'll figure out what my time is. It's probably 2:30, something like that. I'll figure it out, yeah. Okay, Pete, I'll talk to you soon.
Well, I'll be there.
Okay, thank you. Bye.
Bless. Thanks, Michael.
All right, bye.
That's fantastic. Bye-bye. Bye.
Well, there you go. That's either the end of part one or the end of the interview. We'll find out in 3.5 hours. Oh, well, there you go. Take that however you want to take it, but that was quite interesting. And God, I fucking love that man so much, man. So we'll check back in 3 hours. I will either record the end of this episode saying that I did not talk to Pete Way again, or I will do part 2 of the Pete Way interview. All right? So I'll see you in 3 hours, friends. Hello, Pete. Thank you for taking my call again. I appreciate it.
As I say, I'm glad to talk and very pleased to be talking to you again.
The pleasure's mine. I won't take up too much more of your time. There's a couple more things in the book I wanted to ask you, and then I have some listener questions, if that's okay.
Yeah.
I wanted to ask you about the guy who influenced you on the bass. In the book, you talk about this guy named Jon Wood. Can you tell me about him?
Yeah, actually. Well, it was a band called Tomorrow with Steve Howes in it. And that was kind of very unusual. Yeah. and they were very unusual in a way, but it was like rock. But the bass player sort of kept it going, but sort of did things that I hadn't seen anybody else do. So, to a certain extent, I found myself watching somebody that really and truly, back in those days, you didn't really look at bass players, and I thought, that's really interesting. And he would sort of do things with the guitar, like sort of use it like a machine gun or something, and just things that were off the wall.
A lot of times, bass players, like the front man and stuff, wants the bass player to like stand back and not really overshadow him.
Yeah.
Did you ever have any problems with the other band members, like wanting you not to move around so much?
No, not at all, actually.
They liked it.
It was, in actual fact, it was just, I could do what I liked. And the reason I say that is because I think Phil was more subdued, and he would actually be happy to sing the song and then sort of move back to the to the drum riser, and say, for instance, myself and Michael would get together in the centre of the stage and play out the solos.
It was really an original thing, other than this guy Jon Wood, which I haven't been able to find any footage of that guy to see how he could have influenced you. But other than that guy, you were the only one who was really jumping around. Now, of course, Steve Harris is pretty much all over the place.
Steve, yeah. Well, Steve used to watch me play, in the Marquee Club in the early days, and then of course they did shows with UFO in still their early days, and also on their American tour that we were actually headlining. And I don't know, Steve and I became friends because Ross Halfin, the photographer, brought him up to a show in Birmingham.
Yeah.
And I don't know, we just hit it off,
You know that those...
He was telling me things... Sorry.
You know that those guys, their intro tape has always been, or at least for a long time, has been Dr. Doctor. You know that, right?
Yeah. Yeah, it's amazing, actually.
Yeah, it's great.
I use it. I mean, wouldn't be the first thing I'd think of doing, but they now do it, and it's like an anthem for them.
When you played with Ozzy for a short period of time with Tommy Aldridge on the drums, did Ozzy and the rest of the guys mind you jumping around so much on stage?
Ozzy didn't mind. Ozzy and I were very good friends, so it was a bit like I could do what I liked, but I knew not to overstep what I was doing because it was the Ozzy Osbourne show, after all. But same time, I didn't sort of stick like glue, to the stage.
What did Tommy Aldridge think of your playing?
He didn't like it.
Really? Why not?
I don't know. It didn't do a great deal. We didn't really rehearse, to be truthful. So it was one of those things that, if somebody wants to be critical, Ozzy was happy with it. But you get a thing, so you've got to remember that I was travelling with Ozzy, and so obviously they were travelling as a band.
Right. You were on the you were on Ozzy's
separately.
bus. You were on Ozzy's bus, and the rest of the band had their own bus.
Actually, no, I used to travel in a Range Rover with
Really?
with Ozzy
Okay.
and Sharon. So that was, it was one of those things. We basically lived together. Well, not I say that. We went to the hotel together and went to the show together, and that. I think with Ozzy, some people were just associates, if that's the best way I can put it.
And you were his friend.
And yeah, exactly. Yeah, that was the difference. You get people that basically paid to play. I was actually paid to just hang out. I think really more than
What did Sharon think about you hanging out with Ozzy so much? I would imagine you would be a bad influence.
Sharon encouraged it.
Oh, really?
To be honest, because she trusted me with him in a way, because she knew I knew the limitations, whereas Ozzy, to a certain extent, didn't have limitations, although he seems to think that I was the one that had no boundaries.
Right.
Whereas Ozzy was very much controlled by Sharon, except Ozzy would fight anything that she would tell him to do, and like, for instance, we'd go for a drink, and she'd say, well, just have one and come back, and she'd say to me, well, just have one and then make sure he comes back, won't you? And of course, I'd say to him, we better go now then, and he'd go, is the Pope Catholic?
Yeah.
And he'd go, and then we'd go and have another drink.
Right.
Hold on a second, please, Michael.
Okay.
I'm just going to... So I'm just doing my robe up.
Okay. Okay. Oh, by the way, I saw the score of the soccer game. So is that good when they only tied?
2-2.
Is that good when it's only a tie, or is that not so good?
Well, it was in Scotland, and it's the sort of game that, you get local rivalries. Well, I guess England and Scotland's always like that, but they've got to come and play in England, which is a different thing. England did dominate the game, but in a way, it's like the goals didn't go in, and Scotland had a couple of free kicks and scored from those. So it's difficult to say with football. It's a game can change with one goal, but England equalised in the last 3 minutes. So it's always interesting, but sometimes it's a little bit, a bit of a strain on the heart.
Yeah, well, I would imagine that Scotland, having the home field advantage, would have been picked to win.
Yeah, and you've got 90,000 Scotsmen in there.
So it's kind of good that England tied it up.
Oh yeah, I mean, it wasn't bad. It would have been nice if England had won, because they were actually playing the better football, but Scotland played to defend and then break through and get a free kick or something like that. And sadly for England, the free kicks went in. So, but England came back. It's sometimes teams get too comfortable, and they hadn't played for a while, England, because the Premier League's only just stopped.
Oh, okay.
So now they're doing that, but England is still top of the league for the World Cup qualifying. So wasn't a disaster. It wasn't a great victory, but it got the job done, really.
I don't know much about soccer, but I feel the same passion that you do with baseball in America.
Yeah. Well, you can put all sports, I think, on a par sometimes with, you never know what's going to happen next. And then, how can I put it? They call it a game of two halves. And sometimes, you get one team that will dominate the first half, and a team that will dominate the second half,
right.
So it can go either way, It's just, I would say Scotland had some breaks, but at the same time, well, then obviously they deserved them because they had their defence working well and that. So, well, in a way, you'll have to follow it a bit more to learn. It's not like, say, American football and stuff like that. It's a whole different style, And that baseball, for me, is a little bit weird because for me, it's like cricket we have in England.
Right.
And I don't really like cricket, to be truthful. So,
well, a lot of people think baseball is slow and boring, but also a lot of people think that soccer is slow and boring. But if you really watch baseball, it's not slow and boring, and I imagine it's the same way with soccer.
Well, same with soccer actually, because it leaves you on a knife edge. To be truthful,
that's the way I feel about baseball.
I mean, I wish I could honestly tell you that I could enjoy baseball, but I lived in the States for quite a while, and I could never really follow it because it reminded me of cricket, which they play in England and around the world, actually, but has been a bit slow and more of a, I don't know, like a Sunday sport or something like that,
Yeah, I love baseball. Though. Well, unfortunately,
I mean,
back to rock and roll.
I really wish I could honestly say that I understood it, other than just watching it and running about and that. But I grew up with soccer.
Yeah, same way with. I grew up with baseball. Same thing.
Yeah, exactly. So I mean, it's like somebody explained to me about American football, and when I said, well, I really don't see it, and they said, oh, you've got to think of it as a game of chess, where you've got the big guys in the middle that stop the ones who are attacking, and it's very clever, a lot more clever than I thought of sort of people that just knock each other over, because it's in England they have a game called rugby, and that I can never follow. But that is actually, they don't wear any outfits or anything, but they just run at each other. And God, you know what I mean? You think, I wouldn't want to be doing it, you know what I mean? Right. Not unless you were a broken nose or dislocated shoulder, that sort of thing. Sort of something a bit dangerous, Michael.
Yeah, I hear you. You still play soccer at all?
I don't actually, not since the illness and that. Occasionally, I can kick a ball, but I don't get the chance really. Because I have to be careful because of my heart. Actually, although that has obviously improved considerably, and so no, in truth, but I follow it and I go to watch the team called Aston Villa that I support quite a lot because I've had time on my hands, obviously, with not we're not finishing the album yet, because we've had to have breaks because I had the radiotherapy with the cancer.
Right.
And things like that. And but I'm okay now, The heart thing, I had to have my heart put back on the right time because it was running a bit disjointed. And that's it, really, But other than that, my love is music. But it gets a bit boring waiting to finish off your album. But same time, that's why you do books. But I got asked to do the book. It wasn't something that I thought about it.
Who asked you to do the book?
Actually, the book company and a guy called Paul Reese and Jenny, my manager and wife.
So Paul Reese is the guy you did the book with.
Reese.
Paul Reese, did you just tell him the stories and he wrote them down?
Yeah, pretty much. And then he turned it into a proper story. I mean, I basically did it like an interview, and he would pull out the questions, and we spent, I don't know, several weeks actually doing it, And I wasn't trying to, how can I put it, sensationalize it. Actually, if anything, I was actually trying to minimize the some of the stuff that went on.
Well, there's a lot there's a lot of stuff about the the alcohol and drugs and stuff, but there's even more great rock and roll stories in the book. I mean, if you're a fan of music in general, there's great music stories, and especially if you're
that was my main concern, because I'm not a big fan of talking about drugs and stuff. I mean, it's probably well known that I've had my fair share of them, but and sadly that different people have died associated with me in it, but it's not something that I would say I'm proud of. Speaking
of that, a lot of people always wondered about because there were all these rumors about, which you clear this up in the book. There's all these rumors about Bon Scott. You talk about that in the book. He actually did not die the night he was with you, correct?
Actually, that is actually wrong.
Exactly.
He did. He wasn't actually with me, you see. Bon came down to the show. And Bon being long-time friends, because us and AC/DC played together, obviously, you get a friend comes in and you say, come in the dressing room and have a drink and that, and you chat. Before and after the show.
This was around the time of No Place to Run, right?
Yeah. We were playing, I think, 4 nights at the Hammersmith Apollo.
Right.
I think it's called the Apollo now. It used to be the Hammersmith Odeon.
Right.
And which was very convenient because we all lived in London, as did I. Bon. But there was a situation where there was people that were with Bon, 1 or 2 Australian people and that, and associates that came down that I didn't really get to speak to. I just had a drink with Bon in the dressing room, there was drugs there, of course. But I honestly can't remember, and I mean I can't remember, Bon doing drugs.
Any drugs,
particularly. I mean, to be honest with you, I think Bon did some coke. People that came down with him, I think, brought some heroin down. yeah, I used it, and I probably bought some, but certainly I didn't sit with Bond and give him heroin. You know what I mean? And the last time I saw Bond, it's probably about midnight because I lived quite close to the actual venue, and so I went back because my wife and to have a child, Charlotte, that was, they were at home and expecting me to be back, and so I did, and Bond went off with the people that brought him down. So I really don't know what went on from after midnight. That's the thing. Certainly didn't go off anywhere because I wasn't allowed to go off anywhere because I was supposed to be home.
So he didn't. He didn't die that exact same night. He died like 12 days later, didn't he?
Actually, it says in the book 12 days later, but actually, he died that night.
Oh, really? He did. Okay. Huh. Yeah. So you didn't give him. You just saw him backstage and just had a drink with him and said, "Hey, Bond, it's nice to see you. Thanks for coming to the show." Yeah.
Well, I don't, sort of put it like this. You don't sort of say to somebody, "Here, have a line of this, I have a line of that."
Yeah.
Yeah. If I know that somebody does something, then of course, you might offer them a line of Coke. I'm sure you've probably been to places where people will go, "Oh, do you mind?" sort of thing, but certainly not. No, it wasn't like that. I think if you see the picture in the book, you see he's bright-eyed and bushy-tailed.
He looked like he was actually pretty, and it looked like he was kind of sober, actually.
Yeah, exactly. So whatever happened when they went, you see, because I would have been driven back to my house, which wasn't that far, so I wouldn't have, I don't know, I mean, I don't push drugs on people, if you see what I mean.
Yeah.
I'm too tight for that. If I got drugs, I keep them to myself.
Exactly. Yeah,
but
right.
I don't do drugs anymore anyway. So it's one of those things.
In that picture, you have a look when you're looking at Bon Scott. You look like you're looking at him like you really, really like. You look like you love the guy. We
were very good friends, and I admired him. It's like with Angus and Malcolm. I particularly like those guys.
Yeah.
They were like, in a way, they're my heroes. But when Bond comes down to see you, I just think, great,
Weren't you the one who had to tell Angus that Bond died?
Actually, I got asked to say that I got told, and I was asked for a phone number. I had both Angus and Malcolm's numbers, and I gave actually Paul Chapman from the band, who was with some people that were with Bond. I gave him the Malcolm's number. I didn't give him Angus's number.
Okay.
I called Angus the following day when the news broke out, and Angus said to me, "Yes," he said, "I can't handle it." He said, "I've still got some of his stuff in my flat." He said, "I can't even look at it."
Right.
So,
what do you think about Axl singing with AC/DC?
I think Axl's a great singer, but because I work with Mike Klink, I can't say anything else. But
right.
I like Guns N' Roses.
Yeah.
So, I like anybody with energy.
Well, and in my opinion, he just doesn't fit with AC/DC. You know who would be good with AC/DC? I'm sorry to get off AC/DC. The guy from Rose Tattoo would be good in AC/DC.
Oh, yeah. Oh yeah, oh God, I forget his name now. Bald guy,
Angry Anderson.
Angry Anderson. Yeah, yeah. But Angus said to me at the time when Bond went, he said they just felt like giving up,
Yeah.
and it was probably record company and that sort of said, "Look, come to your senses."
Right.
Sadly, they'd. Highway to Hell had come out and it fitted the picture, if you see what I mean.
Right, yeah. One other thing in the book that I had always wanted to know too, that was always a little bit unclear to me too, and it gets cleared up in the book when you started Fastway with Eddie Clark.
Yeah.
Because people come up and say, "Oh, didn't he play on the Fastway album?" But you didn't play on that album, right?
I co-wrote it.
You did.
I co-wrote it.
Do you get credit on? Are you credited on that album?
I am actually now.
Now
I think
you are.
at the time, yeah.
Because I have the vinyl, and I don't remember seeing your name anywhere on that album.
Well, the thing was, I had a court injunction put on me, and
from
even though Eddie said, "Oh, we could have got him out as a court injunction."
So the court injunction, the court injunction was from Chrysalis Records.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's how come I ended up. They gave me the same amount of money to put Wasted together.
Yeah.
But Ozzy called me and he said, "Look, I know you're in a spot. Why don't you do yourself a favour and come and work with me for a while?"
Before you started, before you did Wasted.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it was kind of arranged because I was going to do that, and then Chrysalis were ready to finance the new album, so I was getting a band together, and that's why we got the Motley Crue Aussie tour, because I played with Ozzy, and Sharon and Ozzy were kind enough to
put
Wasted on the tour. Otherwise that would have.
So it was easier.
It would have cost a lot of money.
It was easier for you to just bow out of the Fastway thing rather than be in court, and you just wanted to play rock and roll. And rather than be in court, this was a way for you you could continue to play rock and roll, and it's easier for you just to not do the Fastway thing.
Well, everybody was kept in the dark, except me, because sadly I didn't want to say, "Look, I don't know what to do," because no member of the management called me up and said, "Oh, we'll pay your court costs." Now, the court costs alone would have been a fortune. Chrysalis offered exactly the same money as CBS for Fastway. And I just felt at the time I didn't know what to do. It was just disorientating for me, So I would have been glad to continue with Fastway. I was enjoying it. I mean, Eddie and I started it from scratch, So I didn't want to let everybody down. Same time, the record deal included my name on it, and I didn't want them to lose the record deal because with Chrysalis, I was a key member in the contract,
right.
And so therefore they had every right to stop me working. It's a bit like a sportsman who's in a team. You've got a contract, and you can stop them from working,
Yeah, it kind of takes the fun out of rock and roll a little bit.
Well, worse when you have to sign something at the front door, and it basically says 6 months of work from scratch has gone nowhere. So that's one of the reasons I didn't ask for credits on the album, because I wanted them to get the money back that had gone into it, as well, because it was a very difficult thing for me to do. I can't personally afford to stand up and fight for it, and say, no, I'm not going to do it, because I didn't have a chance. And that's why when Ozzy called me and said, look, why don't you come and play with me? And it would just take the heat off,
Yeah. Do you get tired of talking about this stuff?
Not really.
Oh, good.
Sometimes it's good to get it off your chest.
Yeah, you're good. Well, that clears it up. Was it hard to play the Ozzy tunes? Because they're a little bit, the style was a little bit different than UFO. It was hard?
Yeah,
You had to
exactly.
learn. You had to learn them almost immediately.
Well, to be honest with you, yeah. I mean, we didn't even have a rehearsal. We just did a sound check, so I had to get it right. And sadly, that was it. First day. I mean, it wasn't the ideal rehearsal situation where you get a week or something to get it together. Particularly, I was in at the deep end. Yeah. And really and truly, I would have had to, well, I find it very difficult to change my style, is the best way of putting it.
I think I saw a picture of you using a pick with Ozzy, and you'd always played with your fingers. Did you play with a pick when you were with Ozzy?
I always, actually with UFO, I play with a pick and fingers.
Oh, you did? Okay.
Because, I'll tell you why, because if you do a song like Out in the Street and that, you do it, and I try and make it like a sort of Lou Reed Walk on the Wild Side, and you make the bass just sort of flow.
More galloping.
But if you're doing something like Let It Roll, you need to get that click down, and a Dunlop pick. I don't know if you're familiar with those. A Dunlop pick bends nicely. It just captures the mood. But if you try and do it with your fingers, sometimes it can sound a bit clumsy.
Right, yeah.
Now, Steve Harris, for instance,
plays with his fingers.
Can play with his fingers.
And he does the gallop stuff.
And he does all that. But it's just what you get into. I mean, I preferred to use the pick. And one of the reasons I used the pick was because when I was working with Ron Nevison, and I think even with Leo Lyons, bass players were using picks in the studio because sometimes the accuracy with the fingers wasn't the same, and you get more definition.
Yeah, you get more clarity with a pick in the studio.
Exactly, yeah. But if you're doing something softer and you just slide in the notes and that, so I used to utilise the two,
Right. Well,
call me clever, but I'm not.
I don't want to take up too much more of your time, but speaking of Ron Nevison, I hate to keep it on UFO. I'm sorry. Oh, which, by the way, I saw you guys on. I think this was right after Randy died in Orlando, Florida. I think it was on the Mechanics tour.
Oh, right.
I think was still Ozzy.
Was that Tangerine Bowl?
That was a Tangerine Bowl. It was like the World Series of Rock or something like that. So I forget what they call it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was.
Well, that was pretty hard because, I got friendly with Randy. I'd known him since rehearsal days before even the first Ozzy album was out. So, it was very saddening.
Yeah.
If anything, I was playing the bass for him just to do it, but it almost felt like it wasn't right because we were touring together and Ozzy didn't play, so it wasn't like the Ozzy Osbourne UFO show because there was several other bands there, you know. So,
Yeah, I think
you know, it
I believe it was Pat Travers on the bill. I think maybe Foreigner. I don't really remember that well, but all I remember is
probably,
I remember
yeah.
UFO because I was there to see UFO. It was a mechanic store, which those three albums are my favorite UFO albums. No Place to
Oh,
Run,
thank you.
Wild, Willing, and Innocent, and Mechanics.
Yeah.
Way
Oh, thank you, Michael.
all three of those albums are extremely underrated. Speaking of Chapman, his son, you went down to, this is in the book, you went down, you were reconnecting with your daughter, and you promised to take her to Disney World, and
Yeah.
Mike Chapman's, or Paul, excuse me, not Mike, Paul Chapman's son ended up taking her to Disney World?
Well, no, we went to Disney World, but myself and Joanna were using, so we actually pretty much didn't want to be going around Disney World.
Yeah.
So we thought we'll take two youngsters with us, and Tice could drive. So, you know, they got on well. So it was like we were, as a matter of fact, running out of heroin. So we really didn't feel well enough to go around Disneyland. In fact, we were more likely to need to go to Disney Hospital.
Right. Yeah. Do you ever have contact with Paul Chapman anymore?
I haven't, because I haven't got his number. We had a bit of a falling out because, sadly, when the Wasted album came out that he was working on,
right,
he didn't do any solos, and Finn the singer decided in no uncertain terms that he'd been to Florida with Paul to work on it, and he said, oh, he's not going to do it, we got to get somebody else in. And so I'm like, well, I don't know. I didn't know the situation that went on in Florida, and it was just very disappointing for me because I like working with Paul, and I was so disappointed that you know, I mean, I was pretty much given an ultimatum, even in my own band, saying, Pete, you know, he's fucked up. You know, he's got, and I heard some of the stuff that was done down in Florida, and it was quite appalling.
Huh.
There was no lead guitar solos,
right,
and Finn was singing terrible. The whole thing just sounded like a bad night, a karaoke session.
I like that one. I like that one self-titled Wasted album, though. I like that a lot.
Oh, the first one.
No, not Vices. This one is just, I believe this one's just called Wasted. Is it just called Wasted?
Oh, do you mean Back from the Dead?
No. Maybe it's Good, the Bad, and the Wasted. I don't know. The one with just the girl's breasts on the cover, and it says Wasted on the front on over the girl's breasts.
Yeah, that was actually with. Now I forget. I think Paul played lead guitar on that. It was just a rock and roll record.
It's a great album. It's a great album.
Oh, I'll tell you what, you're my hero. Thank you, Michael.
Well,
it was, you know, it went down well. I think it actually even charted in England reasonably highly, and things like that. But
Rolling Out the Dice, is that on? Rolling Out the Dice is on Good, the Bad, and the Wasted. What's on that?
Yeah,
Heaven Tonight might be on that album. That's an EP, I think.
Heaven Tonight. That is a really good song, actually.
I was just watching the redid version with that when they put together like a glam or a hair metal band, and you guys, what is that? Save Your Prayers. Put a smile. It put a smile on my face watching you because you looked so fucking cool in that video. The rest of the band, they look kind of poser, but you looked super cool.
I'm the world's worst critic of me, So one thing I do have to do before, obviously, vocals are going to be absolutely, well, we can't finish it without me singing because I've written the songs and that, so they're ready to go. But I've been playing six-string more than I have bass, but I know that I can quickly pick up the bass, and it comes as second nature. Yeah, it's like swimming or riding a bike.
Especially if you're playing guitar. I mean, guitar. You're still keeping your fingers going somewhat. So.
Oh, absolutely. Well, I think you caught a little bit of my out-of-tune guitar earlier this afternoon, didn't you?
Yeah. Well, it's about the
this afternoon my time.
It's about the attitude more than the in-tuneness.
Yeah.
I'm sure that Mike Klink might beg to differ with that when he's engineering, but
yeah, I just picked it up. Didn't even check through this tune. It's just one of my guitars,
Yeah.
So it's not that difficult for me to write songs, anything. All I want to do is just finish the album, go on to. Got the book now. So everybody knows that I'm a bad man. And
no, because everybody in the book, there's a lot of there's other people talking about you in the book and giving their side of the story, and everybody in that book has nothing but high praise for you. None of them said that you were a bad man, including Michael Schenker.
Oh, me and Michael get on great. Me and Michael get on great. It's it's a myth that Michael's difficult to get on with. Yes, if Michael doesn't like something and that, yes, he'll tell you what he thinks, but I've never had a problem with Michael at all. I normally just get a smile from Michael, and if I make a mistake, he'll tell me, he'll look at me and go, "Don't make that mistake again."
Yeah. He's kind of a mad genius in a way.
He's a genius, and he's very, very thorough with everything he does. I'd say in some ways he over practices because he gets so much into his playing that he could almost do with taking some time off and just relaxing and put a bit of Keith Richard into his playing or something like that. But that's where me and Michael differ on on that type of thing.
It's two types of rock and roll, and yours is the more real rock and roller side, and his is the studied guy side.
But Michael can play rock and roll, I can tell you. It's like it's in his blood. And love him to death,
I don't want to take up your entire evening, Pete, and I thank you so much for doing this. But I have 3 more questions, if you don't mind.
Sure.
All right, the first one, the album Strangers in the Night, Ron Nevison, I just heard an interview with Ron Nevison. He said 2 of those songs on that album were actually not live. You went in the studio and just did and recorded.
Yes, right, yeah. I forget. I'm sorry, but I forget which 2 they were.
He refused to answer the question. I have a guess on which 2. I'm guessing.
I think it was This Kids.
Oh, really?
And
that's not what I guessed.
And
that's This Kids. Yeah.
Oh yeah, and I forget why, because I think to make it a double album.
Right, that's what he said with the time constraint.
But I have to tell you this, when we say it wasn't done live, we did it live in the studio. But what Ron probably meant was there was no audience there.
Right.
So we just played it. Sorry.
My guess, which is obviously totally wrong, my guess was Only You Can Rock Me and Shoot Shoot. I don't know why, but I guess because it sounded it sounded like it was.
No, only You Can Rock Me and Shoot Shoot for both
Okay.
done live.
So This Kids and
Totally live.
Maybe Mother Mary.
Mother Mary,
Alan-
I think, possibly.
Okay, there you go. All
Yeah.
right. That's the
But
only.
you got to remember, it's a long bit of a while ago.
Yeah, of course, of course. Two more questions. How were you? Do you want people to remember Pete Way?
Good question.
Not really, but
I haven't finished it. I haven't finished the Pete Way story yet.
okay.
The Pete Way is going to come out with the new album and a tour, and I'll either fall flat on my face because I'll be doing a lot of singing, or I'll come out like, wow, couldn't believe he could do it.
I've heard two bits from the new album, and both of those sound better than Amphetamine. And I already told you, Amphetamine is one of my favorite albums of all time. So you're not going to fall flat on your face.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, that's another thing, you know. The two guys that worked with me on that both overdosed. So I'll give you a rough idea of that doesn't even go in the book. It was pretty sad, you know, and that's, you know.
Do you have
it's not something
you have somebody putting out the new album?
We're talking to people all the time, but you can't play people fresh air because Mike, for various reasons, has had difficulties with my illnesses and that, but I'm pretty much fit now, you know.
I would imagine that there would be a lot of people who would want to put that album out, but there is always the crowdfunding thing too. You can get the fans to purchase it in advance, which a lot of bands have done well with.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, that is a drop in the ocean, those two songs to it. It's very gritty because my influences go from Bob Dylan to AC/DC, the Stones, well, people I work with, you know, and that. So I don't mince my words. I keep my words pretty straightforward. Sometimes I think,
the lyrics are to the point, is what you're saying.
Yeah, I mean, Narcotics is actually supposed to be funny,
right?
If that's the best way of saying it, because all my friends again are on narcotics, and that, you know, it was Slash said to me. He said, "You know what, Pete?" Because that's when he was playing on that one. He said, "You know what, Pete?" And I love the bit where you say Peruvian cocaine. See, it's tongue in cheek. It's not supposed to be serious.
Exactly. You have any fear of dying at this point in your life? I mean, are you afraid of dying?
Not at all.
No. Okay.
The reason is that I could happen any time and that, but I'm not using. But I could still, having been through the illnesses and the cancer, stuff like that. I mean, I don't fear it, and quite honestly, going back some time, I would think, Christ, I'm going to have a heart attack from sheer use of large amounts of cocaine, and then also if you've got a needle that's packed full of smack and you do it, you've got to know what you're doing. That's why people die, if you don't know what you're doing. So I just used to be careful, and that I shouldn't even be saying it because it's not clever. I much prefer the love of my life, which is music.
That's the thing. Rock and roll brings you the most joy of anything, right?
Yeah. That's why it's very frustrating that I had the illness, stuff like that. and I'm ready to go, really, it still takes a while after you've had radiotherapy and things like that your body can be a little bit messed up,
Yeah. Well, Pete Wade, thank you so much for doing this. Please, please, please finish this album as soon as you can. Get in there and do the vocals.
It's on its way, actually, because Mike's going to come over at the end of the month, and we're going to get these vocals done.
Yeah, just lay
If
him
not,
down.
he's going to cut my balls off.
Yeah.
So
just lay down the vocals and get this thing done already. I am tired of waiting for it. I want it very soon.
I'll tell you what, you should try being me. Can you imagine it? And I spent an awful lot of my own money on that.
Yeah.
So, I'm having to eat chips or something. No, I can't say chips because in case it's... I'm a vegetarian and partially vegan. So, a bit weird really for an ex-junkie. And I say ex-junkie because I am. But, I do try and take my life very serious. In fact, soccer's probably the most serious thing, but the music is everything.
Yeah.
It's just dragged on, but I just can't wait for people to hear some of the other songs. Some of the songs, some people are going to go, wow, how could he sing that? But it's kind of like a story, a bit like the book.
Yeah. Well, Pete, thank you so much for doing this. I'm going to tell you again from the heart, there's nobody that has more love for you than, as a fan, I don't know you that well if it's a person, but there's nobody that has more love as a fan for you than me.
I'm sure we'll meet up, Michael, so don't worry about that.
And I'll
stay alive for you.
Please do. I'm going to pray. I'm going to pray every day.
Okay.
All right, Pete.
I'll tell you what.
Yeah.
It's my pleasure. It's lovely talking to you again.
Thank you so much, Pete, and have a great rest of your night.
Yeah, I will, John.
Okay.
I'm going to go back to sleep because I actually did have a lay down for an hour or so because I like to be fresh when I talk,
I had a few beers because I was a little bit nervous talking to you, so I feel more relaxed now.
Really?
So, yeah.
Don't have to worry about that.
Okay.
I've a few beers, same thing.
Yeah. Okay, Pete.
No, I didn't have a few beers. I had a glass of Chardonnay.
There you go. That's nice.
There you go.
Nice. All right. Thank you so much, Pete. I will talk to you soon, I hope.
My pleasure.
Okay.
Give my best to the people of San Francisco.
I will. You're missed out here.
I can't wait to see everybody.
Okay, Pete. I'll talk to you soon. Thank you so much. Bye now.
Thank you, Michael.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Bye.
Well, second half, you got more questions answered in the second half. And honestly, I was a little bit worried after the first half. I'm thinking maybe Pete's not doing so well. But now second half, he's sounding a lot better. So thank you so much for listening, friends. I'm going to close out with something from Amphetamine. I don't know what I'm not sure what I'm going to close out with, but here it is, friends. Thank you so much for listening. rockandrollgeek.com is where you can find the show. rockandrollgeek@gmail.com is how you can reach me. You can find me on the Facebook, R&R Geek. You can find me on the Twitter, R&R Geek. You can find me on the Instagram, rockandrollgeek, don't ask. And I will put links to where you can find Pete Wade's book, A Fast Ride Out of Here, Confessions of Rock's Most Dangerous Man. It is the best rock book that I have read. My favorites are Please Kill Me, Walk This Way, the Aerosmith story, and although I'm not a Motley Crue fan, The Dirt is a really good book. This one beats them all, friends, so please check it out if you're a UFO fan. You will not be disappointed. I'm a slow reader. I read this damn thing in 2 days. And that's good. It takes me forever to read a book. So if I can do it, you'll love it, friends. Thank you so much for listening, and thank you to everybody who donates to the show. Without your donations, the show would die a horrible, putrid, stench-filled death. We'll talk to you soon, friends.
hear one, practice what I preach. God, the jungle's the only thing that they believe in. Can't I smack on food stamps tonight? Even Western feels so damn good now. There ain't no others here, there ain't no wonderland. There ain't no looking glass that any form believes in. There ain't no others here, there ain't no wonderland. There ain't no looking glass that any form believes in. Cops come round with their flashing limousines. The only Vegas life you'll ever see. So much simple with a smarter and a gun. Shoot their fucking life out of you. There ain't no others here, this ain't no wonderland. There ain't no looking glass that any fool believes. There ain't no others here, this ain't no wonderland. There ain't no looking glass that any fool believes. And I go crazy again. Think I'll go crazy again. Stuck here in a one-horse town. All I got, my TV. CNN talking about the president. All I got, TV. All I got, the band on my methadone. Go to the bar for a drink or three. Keep trying to hear one, press for the preach. God, the jungle's the only thing. Buy Smith and Weston if you can. There ain't no others here, this ain't no wonderland. There ain't no looking glass that any fool believes. There ain't no others here, there ain't no wonderland. There ain't no looking glass that any fool believes. There ain't no others here, there ain't no wonderland. There ain't no looking glass that any fool believes. There ain't no looking glass, there ain't no anything you want anytime. Am I go crazy again?
It's a rock and roll geek train wreck.